ladies and gentlemen. On this day, 25th of March 2023, was held the 20th general election for Arendelle between the party Gryffindor and the party Slytherin. The Election Commission has announced that the numbers of voters following the election is as much as 10,200,331 people out of 12,140,024 registered votes. Almost all of the people in this country has carried out their responsibilities as citizens in choosing their leader. So the question is, who will be our Prime Minister in 2023?
Good morning. Today, we will announce the results of the 20th general election for the Arendelle Parliament with a majority of 100 votes. Now, the winner of the Arendelle parliamentary seat goes to Eliza from the Gryffindor party.
Hi everyone, today our topic is democracy, and I am going to explain what is democracy. First of all, democracy is defined as a government in which it has supreme power is vested in the people or chosen by the majority of people. In the other words, democracy is exercised directly by the people in the large societies, and it is by the people through their elected agents.
Each country has their own system to govern their state. Same goes to Malaysia. We have democracy system to govern our state. So today, we're going to focus on democracy system, where it is a system that people have the right to draft the law and the policy that will be implemented to govern a state. As you all know, democracy is very important because it gives citizens the equal opportunities to be a part of decision-making processes involving national interests. That is why politicians have to make sure their policy will work for the people or they will not be re-elected in the next election. So now, let's take an example where we have our own country, which is called Arendelle. The citizens of Arendelle will choose their leader or prime minister through the general election. The general election must be held at least once every 5 years. The citizens of Arendelle have the right to choose their leader or representative. A government policy is a rule or principle that hopefully better guides decisions, resulting in positive outcomes that enhance the community or unit. Government policies contain the reasons things are to be done in a certain way and why. This leads to the development of procedure and protocols to see that policies are conducted in an appropriate manner. Next, how the democracy system sets the lawmaking aspect is based on the pre-parliamentary stage, which consists of proposal, consultation and drafting before the proposal becomes the bill. Next, for the bill to become a law, it should go through the parliamentary stage where there will be the first reading, second reading where the bill will be read and debate on the general principle of the bill. In the committee stage, the bill will be discussed in more detail and amended if necessary. After it goes through the same processes with the other house, the bill shall become law at the end of the 30 days and become law once assented by the president.
There are two types of democracy, which are direct democracy and also indirect democracy. In direct democracy, all citizens can participate in the making of public decision, whereas in indirect democracy, citizens elect their own representative to make laws and public decision on their behalf. In Arendelle, we practice indirect democracy, whereby its people are allowed to elect their own state representative, which is known as the head of state, to make laws and also public policies on their behalf. In Arendelle, you can see that we practice indirect democracy because general elections are held once every 6 years. Like I said before, general election is when people elect their own representative. The laws of Arendelle does not require its people to vote. However, it is very important part of democracy because through voting, citizens are participating in the democratic process. Well, let's just say that election is a very important symbol when it comes to the system of democracy.
The characteristic of my government is rule of law, election, and civil liberties. The first one is rule of law. Rule of law is concerned with how political power is exercised, and democracy focuses on how societies like those will hold power. It means that the citizen in my government, including legislator and those in government roles, is subject to and accountable under the law. It is a critical factor for advancement of democracy that is rooted in equal rights of people and accountability so that we can protect the rights of people. Next is election. Election is a part of the political process in my government that is also viewed as symbol of democracy. Typically, the citizen in my government shares their feeling that we represent them in the government by the electoral process. Moreover, corruption, intimidation, or threat to the people during or before the election process is considered against the principle of democracy. The citizens also have the rights to stand for the government they choose. The last one is civil liberties. Civil liberties, also known as civil rights, are intended to give every person an equal freedom of action that allows them to develop as a unique human being. These liberties aim to protect citizens from arbitrary or unmeasured limits on their rights to allow every citizen to engage in the service sphere. Other than that, civil liberties are often formally guaranteed in the constitutions but ignored in practice.
Firstly, democracies give people a chance to become personally involved with their government because the government in democracy is under the control of the people and their voice, so it is up to each individual to decide their fate. Second, this political system is more efficient and stable because if the people want to replace the government, did not take place using any form of violence. Third, democracy could become an education to the citizen. This is because during the election process, representatives usually propose their programs and policies through media social like television, radio, public speaking, speech, poster, and demonstration. All this effort could change people's hearts. And fourth, this system prevents from monopolist authorities because the elected ruling party will make sure their policies will work for the people. If not, they will not be able to remain term with bad records and they will not be re-elected. First, leaders often change in this system. This leads to instability if the government does not re-elected to the next general election. Its administrative policy and economic planning cannot be implemented. Then, democracy is all about the political game. The goal is to get support of the majority of people, so politicians might do anything to get support no matter how, even though it is illegal. Lastly, it can take a long time to make a decisions because it takes time to implement it.
Democracy is not just a simple word or concept. To achieve this type of concept, the government should not make the state their own. This is because people have their right to choose the best for the country. To do so, the government should make the principle of democracy like free and fair election and also equality as the priority one. The government should not make their self-interest as the first point in implementing any policies. They should always include people in politics.